What's up, creators? It's your boy Mad Mike. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping the 440 big block inside the 74 Plymouth Barracuda. So stay tuned and check it out. Alright guys and girls, welcome back. Today we're wrenching on the 74 Plymouth Barracuda that we're turning into like an AAR Tribute, maybe kind of street freak, street machine, ratty looking AAR. But we're going to be taking this 440 big block that I got out of a motorhome. Let me show you guys here. Focus. Alright, so here we got a 440 big block. I believe it's a 1978 block. Out of a motorhome, a Dodge Sportsman. Apparently it only has about 11,000 kilometers on it. And whether that's 111 or just 11,000 kilometers, who knows? It runs great. I had it fired up on the engine run stand. It's coupled to a rebuilt 727 transmission. We got the long tailstock on there because the motorhomes come with a short tailstock. So we're going to try to slip this inside of the 74 Plymouth Barracuda today. The main reason I wanted to, I got my welding gloves on right now too, because in the shop it is -4, -5. And as you can see, it's frickin' winter time in Canada. That is not art, this is frost. And yeah, we just got a new ATV to be able to haul stuff around so I can give my dad's Yamaha Kodiak back to him. And I got my own little Suzuki 500 here. Got a good deal on this, gonna deck it out. So it's a ultimate property car mover mobile. So yeah, that's why I'm wearing gloves. It's cold. We got the engine hoist in here, but the main reason why I want to fit the 440 big block into the engine bay is we have a set of Fender Well Headers. These came off of a 70 Duster drag car I had, and I kind of roughly mocked them up there without the motor, and they do fit inside the wheel well opening and underneath the rocker section. But I want to put the motor in and see if these are going to work, because I want to run these. So I also want to check out our transmission mount, because I got a new transmission mount on there, and a nice customer that is at our restoration shop that I work for was kind enough to give me his old one. I got to weld some ears onto it, but that'll help me at least rest the transmission on it for today. So that's a lot of jibber jabber, I know. I'm just going to sit down the camera and give you guys kind of a visual of me putting the 440 big block in, taking these motor mounts off. I'm gonna have to put the big block motor mounts on as well. So I'm just gonna put the camera down, stop talking, and give you guys some B-roll footage that you can just sit back and enjoy me struggling to get this 440 in. I don't think I'm really gonna struggle, to be honest with you. It's with all the fenders, the rad support and everything off the front end of the car, it's gonna make it so much easier to get that inside the engine bay. Alright, so we got the 440 big block on the hoist crane here, and took some of the tension so it's kind of loose on the cart. We're going to remove these body mounts because this is the first thing we got to do. I think these are the original body mounts that were on the Dodge Sportsman motorhome. So I need to mount up, where are they here? These big block motor mounts with new bushings and engine mounts there. So that's gonna be nice. But the thing I need to figure out is I have a paint mark on this side. I just need to know which side of the ears to mount it, to this side or to that side. So I gotta do a little research. I just quickly mounted these on and figure out which way it's gonna go, because that'll determine on my firewall where my transmission bolts up to the cross member and it's in the right spot. So I gotta figure that out. Step one, remove the old motor mounts, put on these big block motor mounts. Then we should just be able to pick up the motor, slip it inside the Cuda, and see if it fits with the Fender Well Headers. Alright, so I finally got some answers on which way the engine mounts get mounted to the block. So I have them mocked up inside the K-frame right now, so everything's gonna line up good there. So these mounts, this is going to be the driver's side. If we walk around here, I already got paint on where I had them mounted before. So these mounts, actually this one here is for the passenger side, but anyways, they're gonna get mounted to the back sides of these ears here. Not the front side, they're gonna get mounted to the back side. So I looked online, found all the factory drawings, torque specs, so now I finally know which side these go on. So let's go ahead, remove those old mounts, put these ones here on. Just noticed something here too that might help you guys out if you're wondering the orientation of your e-body big block motor mounts. The one with the through bolt right here, one doesn't have a through bolt. One has a through bolt. The through bolt goes on the left side, the driver's side of the 440, okay? There you go, little info, that'll help you out. Alright guys and girls, so it was time to try to put the 440 big block inside of the Cuda. I got the engine mounts on both sides there. Go over to the passenger side, the right hand side. You can see the new mounts are all on. Paint's flaking, I know, I don't care. So, back side of the ears and the one with the through bolt goes on the driver's side. So, mounts are ready. Let's get the transmission cross member ready so I can support it here, right there. We got a new mount on the rear end of the 727 transmission, so let's go ahead and grab that cross member piece, and for now I can just sit the transmission on top, and then when I know where my ears need to get welded on to that transmission mount, I can go ahead and weld on a new mount there. Tuck this up underneath the Cuda. I'm by myself today in the Mad Lab, so it's going to be a bit of a mission, but it's not too bad. With the whole front end off of the car, I think it'll go in pretty easily. So I'm just going to put the camera down on a stand and put on some rock music and chill out. It's family day, it's a Monday, it's a stat holiday, and it is cold. Let's go ahead and get after it. Let's get this 440 big block inside the 1974 Plymouth Barracuda. Alright, check that out. 440 big block is finally installed into the Cuda for mock-up. So, next thing I gotta do is try to get the Fender Well Headers on, because I think I might have to put the Fender Well Headers in and then drop the motor down. So, it's a bit of a process. We'll figure out what we gotta do, but right now I just wanna make sure the motor mounts line up before I put the Fender Well Headers in. So, sick. It's so cool to see this car finally have a motor installed into it. When I picked this up, it was literally just a shell, and my girlfriend and I went up to Manitoulin Island in Canada here and dragged it up onto a trailer, and we've slowly been rebuilding it. And for it to have a 440 big block out of a motorhome in it now is pretty rad. I'm pretty stoked on that. There's a lot of work to do on this car still. I want to get the frame taken care of, all the work done down there, get all the motor suspension stuff done, and then we'll worry about the body and interior after. But big step for today. Let's go ahead and see if we can get these Fender Well Headers up from the bottom, or if we have to pull the motor out again, put the headers in, and then put the motor in. All right, let's keep going, but that is progress. Alright, so here's where I'm at. I got the Fender Well Headers kind of mocked up, fitting in there. They don't go on to all the studs, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to do some modifying either to the car, the firewall, and where the frame rail comes out, or I gotta chop up the Fender Well Headers and rebend those in a certain orientation. So check out what we got going on here. Check that out. We have the Fender Well Headers wrapping up and over the shock towers. They're not fully bolted up on the studs, but I'm just kind of mocking everything up, seeing if everything's gonna fit. Don't know if you guys can see that there. Passenger side, driver side. Driver side has a lot more room because I guess the steering box, the whole engine is pushed probably like 2 inches to the passenger side. And passenger side is close. We can get the rear stud on down there on the exhaust port flange. But the front one has got to come down, so that's going to involve cutting this pipe here and bending it in a certain way that clears the shock tower. They do go down below the frame rails and clearance the tires for turning, so we'll have to run the suspension up and down to make sure that while we're turning, if we hit a bump, they'll still clear. Well, I just got lucky, guys. This driver's side Fender Well Header, I actually got to fit. So I got to do a little clearance right around here. Got to punch in this header pipe, but we're on the flange. We're down on the motor mounts, and it swoops up around the steering column. I got enough to get the fingers through there. Sorry if it's a little dark. And everything else is clearing. Spark plugs are accessible. Clearance all around here, a good 1/2 inch. Then coming down, the only spot it's hitting is on this lower portion right up inside here. So I either gotta cut that out and patch it in, or just punch it in. You can already see this used to be an X-Drag car. It's already been punched in right up here, probably for some Fender Well Headers. So let's go ahead, remove that piece later. But I just had to show you guys that I got one side on. The other side is gonna involve a little bit of trimming, but we got Fender Well Headers on the 74 Plymouth Cuda with a 440 big block. All right. So that's going to be it for today's episode, guys and girls. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.